And welcome back to Roadrunner Rundown. Still to come on the program, Olivia Simcoe, our sand volleyball head coach, will join us. Also joining us on the show, Megan Thomason, our interim director of golf, will join us in the final segment of the program. But I want to welcome back to the show as we are not in we're not in women's soccer season per se, but there's a lot going on with the program, and with our head coach, Gary Curneen, he joins us back in the show. Good to see you. How you been?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good to be here.
Well, first of all, I want to. This is like your poor man's book tour, is what's going on right now. I want to talk about you. Here's the thing that happens: is Coach Curneen writes these books, and then everyone on Twitter talks about how excited they are to see a new book from our very own Coach Curneen. Your new book, The Modern Soccer Coach: Position-Specific Training, and it joins your other book, which was The Modern Soccer Coach 2014. So, talk about this second, phase of your soccer coach series.
Yeah, the first one focused more on the overview of coaching and how the game's changing in every aspect. This one focuses more on positional development, something that in America you guys are familiar with in every sport you play. I mean, golf and baseball have their pitching coaches, and basketball have a post-up play.
Yeah.
In soccer, we tend to generalize our training program, so every player gets the same type of training. And I think what that's producing is players who don't really perform under pressure, or who don't perform at a consistent level, or who don't probably, achieve what they're capable of achieving because they're not getting that valuable instruction. So it's a little bit more catered towards the individual player, which sports science is going and sports psychology is going. So it's that's what the goal of it was for.
Where'd you get a lot of this? Obviously, I know you're constantly kind of just consuming things you see from what professional teams do, teams overseas. Where'd you kind of acquire a lot of this stuff and these drills and the things you write about in the book?
Yeah, well, a lot of it's from a lot of the top academies now are across the world are all moving in that direction, and the top coaches are moving in that direction. And that's where, like I say, that's where I think more pro. Even in the US, some of the national teams. I mean, Brian McBride in the US is doing quite a bit of it with the younger programs. It's just not as college. We are slightly restricted with our numbers and with our hours at the minute. So it's something that I'm using for the first time with our group, and we're trying to change our training program as well. So it's, I've done the research, and now I'm using it as well. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
What are the challenges when you come to do that at the college level? Because you'd maybe have players coming in, whether it's from high school, whether it's from an academy, club team, whatever, and they say, yeah, but I play this position. I'm supposed to be here, and that kind of stuff. So is it tough to not only have the time to put them in a position-specific drill or whatever, but also to identify and convince them that, no, this is where you need to be?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing in the college system is that it's almost, in terms of your soccer, it's all or nothing. The fall season is everything, and the pressure, and you're playing 3 games, 4 games a week sometimes. So it's tough to teach in that aspect of it because you're worried about overtraining and your travel and everything like that there. And then in the off season, our players at the minute are only getting 2 hours a week on the ball, whereas Division 1 women's soccer at the same level in France, Germany, Italy, Spain, they're all playing 12, 14 hours a week. So it's like anything. Like a basketball player isn't getting their touches on the ball, isn't shooting the ball. That's going to, the quality is going to diminish slightly. So we're facing a challenge with that there. But I think there's a way to do it, and that's what I'm trying. I think it's worth it, and I think it can improve, especially what we're trying to do with this program, with bringing in players with a lot of potential. We're hoping that we can get them to perform better on the field.
This program probably fits in well to kind of what you do, because I guess this program you have a little leeway to sort of be experimental with this program. I mean, there's a lot of places where you want to get somewhere where the program hasn't been yet, so you have a little leeway to say, let's try this, as opposed to other places that might say, we've done it this year this way, we've been successful this way, we're going to keep it this way.
Yeah. Well, we've got to develop players, and that's where, and we've got to win games. So our model here has to be win games, develop players, win games. And a lot of other Division 1 schools that are established and doing well aren't under the pressure to develop players because they're getting top 50 recruits, and those kids aren't coming here, but that's okay. But if we don't have a model and a system and how we're going to take players from this level to that level, then we're kidding ourselves, and if we do produce it, then we're just getting lucky. So what I would like the program is to say, right, this is what our program is to developing players. This is what we're doing that maybe other programs aren't, and maybe it becomes a selling point for our recruiting as well.
Absolutely. And it seems like, I mean, just the coaches community and things I've seen online, I mean, folks have responded well to this book early on, right?
Yeah, well, nobody's read it yet, so that could change quickly.
Yeah, well, and this is kind of a passion for you. I mean, obviously, coaching is a passion, but then, you know, writing about coaching and trying to help other coaches be better coaches and things like that. I mean, that's where did that kind of passion develop for you?
I've always loved writing. Like, I love the blogs. I love writing about, you know, I was talking to Richie yesterday. I really, really enjoy it, and it's a bit geeky, you know, that you're writing about a sport, but the passing on information is something that I just think it's the more you give out, the more you tend to get back, and that sounds a bit corny, but it's true online. You know, I get the majority of the information I get is from Twitter and YouTube, and 10 years ago it was, you know, it was coaching courses, and it was, I suppose, textbooks would be the equivalent of it, but those things are slowed down slightly. So it's something that I think the more information I give out, the more I almost get challenged on it, which then forces you to reinforce, you know, well, I need to think twice whether that's right or not. So it's not a, you know, and I try not to be that way online. I try not to be it's this way or it's no way at all. You know, people can disagree with but you can't disagree with the fact that in order to improve players, you need a system and you need time with them. So if you're not spending your time individually with your players and you're not producing a program that's catered towards them individually, then you know, it would take a lot for me to convince. But there's going to be better ways of doing it, and I'm hoping to find that way out very quickly.
We always try to see to be figuring it out one way or another. Now, let's talk about your specific team. We didn't get a chance to catch up after you announced your 2015 recruiting class, which I think makes up about 30% of the incoming freshman class at CSUB. You had a great the student athletes look very promising, and big class. It's getting bigger. I think a couple more were cleared through compliance the other day. Talk about the class and a couple of highlights from this incoming group that you hope to see help the program.
Yeah, I mean, we're really, really excited about it. Obviously, it's my first recruiting class. We've looked for four things, and we've looked for the athleticism is huge, and it's not just about big and strong and fast. It's about having the capabilities to sustain training every day at the intensity that you need to at an elite soccer level, which we haven't had that before. So yeah, we're working. Our girls worked hard in the fall. Do we work at the levels needed? I don't think we do. So we need that type of athlete here. We also obviously need the type of soccer player who, out of our last 7 games, 5 of them we outshot up opponents, which would have been unheard of at the first, but we didn't win those games. We didn't win those games because we didn't have the right players so we need the right pieces in the jigsaw. The academic side is huge for us because we're not trying to win an academic award. It would be nice, but we're trying to build a culture that involves performing under pressure, high standards, and absorbing. I mean, all this information that I'm talking about. Yeah. If you give that to a player who has a 2.2 GPA, they're not interested in it, and so they have to have an ability to take on information and to absorb it and to want more of it. And the last part is the character. We want people we don't want the same type of person. Yeah. We want different people, but we want. The 2 things that I've seen in our program that are guarantees: you're going to be an underdog here, and you're going to travel a lot based on our schedule. So there's no point in bringing in pessimistic people, because a pessimist, you lose a game and they're down, or you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's the worst thing in the world. So you want people who are going to generate energy and to come in every day with smiles on their faces. So they're not all happy-go-lucky, right? But they're competitive and they're energetic, and they bring different. There's East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and hopefully an international or 2 as well.
Did you were you like a lot of coaches? Because I know last year was your first year in the WAC, but I know a lot of coaches after their first year, they kind of learn looking at the conference. You brought up the travel, knowing that you need to get that kind of tough player, that sort of resilient player. Yeah. Did that first year kind of help you say, I need to change my recruiting model just a little bit to be to get the kind of player that can be successful in the WAC?
Absolutely. I mean, our program has won 2 games you talk about a basketball streak in the, you know, the last section. We've won 2 games on Sundays in 2 years.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal. Right. So is that down to fitness? Is that down to standards? Is that down to becoming a bit tired? Is it travel? But whatever it is, you need to drastically change it, you know. Yeah. And that's where we're trying to do it, is to say, right, can we get a team to perform not on a Friday night when the crowd but on a Sunday at 3 p.m. when it's 95 degrees and there's 2 cats and a dog at it. Right. You know, that's what we want.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that Friday Sunday is a big part of the conference schedule, obviously. So you got to be successful. You know, you kind of essentially start over with a young team next year. Going to be another challenge, but you seem to be. It seems looking at this group, even though young, could still be very competitive.
Well, I think I hate the excuse, well, we're young, because it's, you know, and then say, well, we're naive. But I honestly believe, my experience coaching, you're better off with raw energy than here we go again, because that doesn't help anyone. And I felt the last year when at critical stages of the season, we had to jolt our players into, come on, we can do this. And if you're motivating in September and October in our business, you're in trouble. So you have to get kids who are, you know, oh wow, this is.
And they don't know any better.
Oh,
they're just going to run through a wall.
You're going to Kansas at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they've never been to Kansas before, and they're excited about it. But that's great, you know, and hopefully you can create an environment that actually feeds off that there, you know. And then if you create, you know, if you have one person like that, it's difficult. That sometimes gets a bit subdued. But if you get 20 of those people, you can carry there's pessimists in every organization. We will have them as well, but you can carry them. You just don't want too many of them. You know?
No, I like it. I think we should add, you know, maybe as far as, you know, sometimes coaches have phrases on their walls and stuff and that describe us as a program. Maybe we should put naive up as well, because that seems to help. Yeah. You want those kids that just don't know any better and want to go out and perform. Well, Coach, congrats on the new book, and good luck with the sales of that. I'm sure this program, it's just, we're knocking on the door. New York Times bestseller lists, we're right there.
We'll be up there.
It'll help you out. And then your spring season, I know it gets underway here shortly. I know you're working a little bit, so good luck with that. And we'll definitely catch up throughout the summer and into the fall.
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.
All right, Gary Curneen here on Roadrunner Rundown.